whenever we win, we set up the boots a certain way. The more that I'm getting into the job, the more superstitious I'm getting.
First couple of weeks, you had to go to Alicante in the job. How was that, getting your head around remembering everything for that trip? Because I remember we did one of our. We had done the job for about 5 or 6 months. And I was panicking.
You still do. So something slightly different for Life of Kitman this week. We're joined by Dom from Bradford, who is the Kitman at Bradford. So instead of having a guest on the sofa, we're sitting on the sofa today. And Dom's here. You all right, Dom?
Yeah, all good, chaps. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad.
We're at work. You're not. So
yeah, a rare day off.
Don't mind it. We get the odd Monday off, don't we?
Yeah, occasionally. If we've done well at the weekend, but yeah, the less said about this weekend, the better.
Not this Monday.
This past
Yeah.
week. There we go. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about it. No need. Absolutely no need. You got a new gaffer, haven't you?
We have, yeah. It's just been announced literally about half an hour ago. So yeah, excited to meet him tomorrow, obviously. Think it's a good time, really. We've obviously been without a gaffer for a few weeks now, so looking forward to it.
Since we played, Joe, wasn't it?
I think that were Kev's first game in charge. Obviously Kev, one of our players, got it on an interim basis just until the new gaffers come in. But yeah, I think that was his first game.
It's always a bit of a strange one, isn't it, when a new manager comes in, because you don't know what to expect. So sort of, I don't know how to describe it. We've had it before where we've had a whole summer where we've not had a manager.
We've had a few gaffers.
It's always a weird one when it's just like happens over a couple of weeks or days. You don't know what to expect. So it's quite exciting, but hopefully it'd be good for you guys.
Yeah, like you say, obviously everyone does things slightly different. So, looking forward to it.
Cool. So let's just talk a bit about you. How long have you been at Bradford?
Yeah. So this is my second season. I actually came in at the start of last season. I think literally a week before pre-season started. So relatively new, really.
Were you at Huddersfield before? Is that right?
Yeah, so I did my when I was at school, obviously a big football fan. Did my work experience at Huddersfield, and then just got involved with them. But it wasn't on a full-time basis. So this opportunity came about. I was working a full-time job in engineering prior, alongside obviously just helping out at Huddersfield. And then applied for it. Luckily, they thought I was all right, so managed to get it and never looked back.
It's good that you had obviously a bit of experience before, but how have you found it since you started at Bradford? Like we always say that we're learning stuff every day. Even now, we've both obviously been there coming up to 5 years in January, but even like the first couple of months is always tricky getting used to everything and how the club works. But you're always improving and learning different stuff. I think. All the time. So how do you find that?
Oh, absolutely.
You're constantly finding new ways of doing stuff.
Yeah. It were a bit of a whirlwind. Like I say, I joined, I think, a week before pre-season. We had a pre-season trip to Alicante. So I were really thrown in at the deep end going abroad.
Yeah. That is quick, yeah.
Yeah, like you say, you always seem to be learning and changing things and trying to adapt and just constantly improve. Like even just from last season to this season, like my setups are slightly different on a match day. Down at the training ground, I've tried to improve like a lot of the processes and things we've got down there. But like you say, there's always something that can be done better, I think. And I'm enjoying getting my teeth into it and whatnot.
Yeah, the way that we probably did it if I look at our first 10 games to our last, I reckon if we look back at the first 10 games and the way even little things like the way maybe you load the van or just really, isn't it?
But even like if you look back at the early TikToks, our setups
Yeah.
completely different to what it is now.
Yeah.
Just because, for example, you'll always post your setup on your socials.
Yeah.
So we might see
Yeah.
things that you do, and then there's other kitmen, and we follow all the kitmen.
That's,
So we see all the different ways.
that's probably the way it's happened to
Yeah.
me. If I look back at like a picture from like a few years ago, the way that we used to do the towels, it just stresses me out. But it probably comes
Yeah.
from it probably come from just seeing like another kitman do it a certain way. I think everyone just sees other kitmen do it a certain way, and then they're maybe like try and do it that way or something similar. I think that's how a lot of kitmen do stuff.
Yeah, like you say, like I set the Instagram account up for that reason, really, just to sort of like track all the games that I've done, see the setups, and mainly just to try remember like the changing rooms for if we ever go back there, because as you'll know, like obviously the different changing rooms present different challenges, so it was more just like a diary. But as you say, like the setups themselves, they've changed so much. I'm the same as you. I look back at like my very first setup. It was a friendly at Bradford Park Avenue, and I compare that to now, and you look and you think, God, that looks a mess. But I suppose that just shows you're improving, doesn't it?
I like seeing, like, for example, like you just said, like seeing all your setups, because I think you put one up from MK Dons literally. I think you must have played them a week before we did.
Yeah, he did. Played
And
them a
then
week.
I
Yeah.
said like we hadn't been there in a couple of years. I was like, they've done their changing room up. Like, so we already knew obviously before we went there it all changed and it was going to be a good setup. So
Yeah.
it's good to see.
Yeah.
It's good to see, and you know, don't you?
And
But
talking about challenges, your ground's got to be the
Yeah.
most challenging ground
Yeah.
in the league, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do feel for the kitmen. I say it every time when the kitmen are about to leave. Like, you must be glad that this one's out the way, because it's not the best, is it? Like, you've got to go up some steps to get in, down a narrow corridor, and down some more steps. And the corridor's really tight to the dressing room as well. So yeah, I don't envy you having to set up. Obviously, I have the luxury of being able to do it over a few days before the game, rather than it all in a one day.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, it's
When you come to us, it's all flat. It's all on a level. You got it nice and easy, and it's the first door you come to on your left when you come in. Yeah, lovely for you.
yeah. Like I said, I've only done your ground once, but from what you've said, it's nice and flat at least, and bit of a long corridor though. I think from the van, slightly long anyway, but I suppose it's nothing in comparison to ours, so I'm not going to complain too much.
The night last year was horrendous. It's bad enough on a Saturday, but when it was a Tuesday night, it was even worse.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? Having like quite far trips on Tuesday night and what have you, getting back at sort of like 3, 4 in the morning sometimes.
How do you deal with that? Like, how do you do it? Do you go home and then come back and do the work, or do you stay in, get it all done, and then?
No, so with me, what I tend to do is obviously drop all the gear and kit back off at Valley Parade, and we tend to have the day off, the day after the game. So thankfully, I've got my laundry woman Karen, so I'll put a few washers on for her when I get back, and then she'll continue it on the following day for when I get back in the day after.
Yeah, we're usually obviously if we've got a game on a Tuesday, we're in on the Wednesday. We have the Thursdays off. We get back and just do it all. We have no choice but to get a majority of some bits and bobs that we need for the next day. And if we come back on a Saturday night, we just get it all done then. We ain't got to worry about it all weekend.
Yeah,
get it done a few hours.
Yeah,
ready for Monday's training then.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
like you say, I suppose it's a nice feeling probably just to get it all out of the way, and then when you do go home, it's all done.
You're similar to us as well, aren't you? You obviously got all your laundry at the ground, so when you've got a home game, you can just get stuff done throughout the game, which is good, which is what we are.
Yeah.
That's the only benefit to
Yeah,
having
home
everything.
games on a Saturday, or any home game is
Yeah.
perfect because we can just be doing stuff during the game and get it all ticking over so that we're out quick after
That's
the
probably
game.
the main positive of having
Yeah.
everything based
Having
here.
everything there.
Obviously, it'd be nice to have a training ground where you've got everything there and you're based there, but that's probably the one positive.
Yeah.
I think anyway.
Yeah. I suppose it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Like if obviously you were based at the training ground, every game would in essence be an away game. So there'd be a bit more work in terms of like packing and setting up on the day. But like you say, then there's the pros of being based at the stadium. So as you say, on home games especially, you can sort of get ahead, so to speak, and get washers on like after the warm up, just after half time, straight after full time, etc.
Obviously, you've been there, what, a season and a half it will be in a month or two. What's your best job and your worst, if you had to choose?
Go best first.
Yeah, go best. We'll start on a half.
Yeah. So best days. Probably we played Northampton away last season. I think it was only like 4 or 5 games before the end of the season. And we were still in with the chance of automatics. Obviously, Northampton were right up there. And I think if they'd have won that game, they'd have sealed automatics. And we ended up winning 2-1 in the 94th minute. Roms, obviously, who were at you guys, he managed to score. I think it were a header, literally in the 94th minute. So yeah, that was probably one of the best games we've done.
We've had a couple.
Worst,
Yeah.
probably similar to yourselves. Obviously, we lost in the playoff semis last year at Carlisle. I think we took a 1-0 lead to their place. It was quite a close game. We ended up scoring, I think, in the 98th minute. I think it was Matt Derbyshire who scored, but then we conceded in extra time to inevitably lose. And that was probably the worst part of the job so far. Obviously, we'd worked all season towards that ultimate goal of going up, and to sort of have it ended just before being able to get to Wembley as well. That were tough.
Yeah, we agree.
It's got to be the worst thing, not knowing that you'll see. Like, obviously, you play every game all season and you're still going. And then that one game, the season just ends. But it's just like sudden. It's not like you're going into the game, definitely last game of the season. It just all of a sudden hits you. If you're in your head, you're just, we're doing this. Well, that's what we were like anyway. Because we were in the lead from the first leg as well. So we were going into the second leg, obviously, quite positive.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's it. Season. And then next day, that's it. Just
yeah.
Say one thing.
I think it didn't actually hit me like properly until the next day. Like you say, you've got all the adrenaline of the game and obviously packing up afterwards and having to go back to the stadium and whatnot. We're only sort of like in the days after where it really hits you, thinking, yeah, that's the season done. And I don't know about you guys, but like obviously in our role, you've sort of got to forward plan as well. So like you'd had a few weeks of sort of planning what if you got to Wembley, like what you'd do, sort of like logistically, things like that as well. So makes it even tougher to take.
Remember in the morning we were in the hotel before Port Vale and we were speaking to the management team about getting all the sizes for like different. We were getting all new tracksuits and everything.
And everything.
That's how positive we were. We were like,
well, but we had to because you can't sort those things out.
There's obviously only a certain amount.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You need to be prepared if you win, just in case, because otherwise
we literally had it all ready to go the next morning.
Yeah,
it would all be ordered.
Yeah,
so it was there in time.
Yeah.
But the worst one for me, and you haven't experienced it yet in the job, is a relegation, and I don't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
We went to MK Dons. We lost 5-0, was it?
Yeah.
And relegated that day. Not a good day at all.
No, that one is obviously we sort of saw it coming. Yeah. Whereas obviously that you know there's a chance of the playoffs happening and you lose them, but as I said, you don't actually think about it.
Yeah, it's mental
until it happens.
Mental. There's loads of players that we've both worked with. Like
Yeah.
we were like the shirts behind us. These are all players that have played for both Swindon and Bradford. But like you've obviously got Romany Critchlow that we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Who else? Youngie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Youngie, obviously.
Any others
Trying to think who
you
else.
can think of? I mean, there's obviously
Easty, obviously Tyler Smith.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Smith, of course.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
We had,
mental.
we
like,
had Harry Lewis on trial a few years
Oh,
ago
we
as
did,
well,
didn't
that
we?
we spoke
Yeah.
about when we did the pod with
All
him.
right.
yeah, so he come
Yeah.
in.
That was a good
few
couple of
years
years ago now, to be fair.
But yeah, it's just interesting, isn't it? How like you'll say the same things about players that we say, which
Yeah.
like Ryan East, top bloke, absolutely top. Bloke,
Oh, unbelievable.
the best.
Yeah.
Bloke. The Rom, top guy. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
just
chilled
like,
he is.
Tyler,
Yeah.
just celebrate every goal like he's won the World Cup, even in training.
Yeah.
Did he score a hat-trick the other night, I saw?
Yeah, obviously we're playing Man City in the EFL Trophy. He managed to get a hat trick. Absolutely delighted for him. Obviously, he's a top guy, is Tyler, and yeah, no better than getting the hat trick.
Yeah. Some good players over there.
Yeah, really, really.
And obviously Youngie who's with us now. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. How's he getting on at the minute, Youngie? Is he all right?
Yeah, he's
doing
all right,
mate. He's on 10 now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on double figures already.
Yeah.
He was on 9. He had a couple of weeks where, to say, dry patch, but it was only 3 or 4 games. And then he scored at MK Dons last week.
Yeah,
but obviously, he couldn't play in the FA Cup game on Saturday because of being
on loan for you guys.
because of you guys.
Cup tie, so.
Yeah.
Cheers for that.
That's always sort of the way, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
10 goals. You can't ask for more, really. Good lad as well. Great lad.
Yeah. Like you say, it's such a small world, is football. Like obviously between Kitmen, you have chats like before and after the game, and obviously like it's mad how sort of everyone just knows everyone. Even in just me doing this for like a season and a half, like you say, we've come across a fair few players who we've both worked with.
And the more and more years that go on, literally, like there's us now, literally every week, every game we play, there's always an ex-player or somebody that you've worked with. So every game, it's class. Every Saturday or off Tuesday night, you just get to catch up with people that you worked with before. So
Yeah.
that's grown into be one of like my favourite bits of the job. Just always, it's not many jobs that you go around in the job and you just constantly see people that you now don't work with. But in this job, you have the luxury of just seeing people all the time that you obviously had connections with before.
That's what I always say to him when people leave. They're not leaving. You'll see them in about 3 weeks.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And especially when like obviously you work so closely with people, seeing them every day, spend a lot of hours with them. As you say, it's nice to just catch up.
Yeah. Here's a go then. I got another question. What's your favourite ground, other than your own, to set up that you've done? I haven't prepped you on this one, but what are we saying?
No, I don't know why, but I really like Rochdale.
Yeah.
Might be quite a surprising one because it's not the biggest, but I don't know. I just think like the way it's laid out, and like
the bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, the sort of like lockers above and whatnot. I just thought like when I was looking back at some of my setups, Rochdale, it sort of like stood out. I thought that looked quite a good one.
The only thing about that one though, actually, is obviously you've got all the bits above, but then there's always got to be a couple of bits that come out. So you
can't fit everything.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 bits there that the wall comes further out. So
yeah,
always annoys me. If it didn't have that, I'd love it. But in terms of like, obviously you can just reverse the van up, and the door's literally there, and you've got like the nice little sink bit.
Yeah. Do you like a big changing room, or do you like a smaller changing room? Or does it depend? I think because like Doncaster.
Yeah, I think
it's too big for me, but
yeah. Like you say, I mean, the big ones are good, just from the point of view of being able to store everything. But sometimes I feel like places like Doncaster and Wimbledon might be that bit too big. Feels like too spacious in there. But I suppose if you go to like the other end of the spectrum, places like your Stockports and whatnot, like
That's a
logistically for us guys, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
weird layout, the Stockport one. It's a weird one to get, like, in the way the hangers go. Like the wall comes in and out a couple of bits. So
Yeah.
don't hang.
Yeah, no, I can't deal with Stockport. It's weird. It's a strange setup, that one.
Nice ground though, to be fair. And it's easy to get in and out of.
Have you done Gillingham yet in the job?
Yeah, done Gillingham. We had the pleasure of Gillingham on a Tuesday night, so that was, I think, like the latest time we'd got home from a game. I think we didn't get back till like 3:30, 4 in the morning.
That is tight, that one. That is tight. Obviously,
but
we've got a lot of shirts, as you can see behind us.
Yeah.
We always struggle to pick our favourite, but what's the best shirt that you've collected so far? That you've got?
What do you collect?
I think I've seen you put a couple up that you've collected.
Yeah, I do like to do a swap, obviously, if like the opposition kitman wants to. Favorite shirt so far. I was lucky enough because I know someone at Wolves, so it wasn't necessarily that we'd played Wolves, but they just happened to offer me a Dharma Traore shirt, and that's probably my favourite so far. It's a poppy one as well.
Did he
so
sign it?
that's probably my favourite.
Is it signed?
Yeah, signed as well. Yeah.
It's a good one, to be fair.
I like that.
What about you guys? What's your favourite? I suppose you'll have a much bigger collection than me.
Well, the first couple of years we weren't that bothered and didn't really think much about it.
Yeah.
And then I think, and then the last 3 years we've been a bit mad. Ours is probably Johnny Williams Wales one. That's what we said a couple of times.
Nice.
Or we've got De Bruyne's from when we played them in the FA Cup. So it's between them two. And that's signed from.
Yeah.
That's pretty class. And obviously he wore it here. But the Johnny Williams one's class as well. He wore it at the Euros. And he put a proper nice message on it. So
where's that?
Yeah.
2 seconds.
that is,
Yeah.
There's your Johnny Williams one.
yeah.
Oh, nice as well. Quite a unique colour as well.
Yeah, it's lovely in there. And then
That one.
Yeah.
And again, it's
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a home shirt. It's not a generic one. They didn't wear it often. They only wore it a couple of times from the season. So no, it's a good one to have. That.
Yeah. Just noticed the Puma part on that's obviously central as well. Not many kits have sort of like centrally placed sponsors.
It's actually got the club crest. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So people.
Oh yeah, like embossed into it.
In the detail of the shirt. So no, it's nice. I like that.
I do quite like, obviously your ones in the back there, Bradford ones from last year. I do like a lot of the Macron kits. We've got quite a few Macron ones, and they all the quality on them seems proper good, to be fair.
Yeah, Macron seem to be taking over a little bit. Like you say, every other week we seem to be playing another team who has Macron.
It seems like there's a lot of clubs Gillingham are with them. There's quite
Macron and Puma, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're the two for this league.
There's a lot of Puma as well.
There's a lot of teams, isn't there?
But yeah, Macron seems to.
Yeah.
There's another one I like there. Give me 2 seconds.
He's got.
Yeah.
I've got excited now because we're talking
Yeah.
about
He can't stop now. He's started.
Plymouth this year.
Yeah.
Green and gold.
Yeah.
Whitaker's from pre-season.
Yeah.
That's very nice. I like that one a lot.
I've seen a few of the like football pages post that one as like the favorite kit from this season. It is nice, is that?
Yeah, to be fair on that one.
Yeah, a bit like our blue and gold.
Yeah. And there's not too much going on. It's pretty simple, so it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we're pretty much.
Yeah.
We could be close to. Have you got any questions for us?
Ooh.
I don't have to.
I suppose we've covered quite a few. Yeah. How do you think you're gonna finish this season?
Oh, good God.
Do you think you're in with a good chance of going up, or?
I'm quite surprised, to be fair, based off the games we played so far. I'm quite surprised that it's quite a strong league this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought when Wrexham and Notts County come up, I thought we're either going to be two decent teams that will be sort of there or thereabouts and up there. And at the minute, they are. And then obviously,
Stockport.
You got Stockport
who so well.
Who obviously
flying now.
Start a little bit hungover from what happened, and I thought they weren't going to pick up. But
and I don't know. I think we've had a bit of we had an unbelievable start. You know, we've put out a bit at the moment, but I think we go again. I think the quality in our squad, you know, the teams that we talk about a lot on the pod, I think that drives you a long way. And I just think we just need to get maybe a scrappy win, score a couple of scrappy goals, and then we could take off again. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think we've been playing good football. I think we've competed in most games. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't even make predictions on a match day.
No,
because
no.
How can you? Like mental.
Yeah, there's a question for you actually as well. Have you got any? Are there any like superstitions or anything that like you have to do like that makes you like feel good about going into it?
Well, I've got on a match day. I've got an assistant called Andy, and he's just started now. Whenever we win, we set up the boots a certain way. So, like for example, if we've won setting them up facing us, we'll keep it like that. But if we lose, we'll turn them round when we're setting them up.
Interesting.
That's a bit of a new one, and the more that I'm getting into the job, the more superstitious I'm getting, because as you'll know, you think like little details like that matter, and if you win and you're doing well, you like to continue them. So I'm getting more superstitious as the job goes on. I don't know if have you got any?
They don't matter.
Yeah, I remember when we first started, I was only 18 at the time, so yeah, mine was in a lot different pace to it is now. But I used to do like the same captain's armband if we won. We used well, we still do now, but all the hangers face sort of like towards the pitch, so like towards
we're driving all the energy that way.
Don't know if that does anything, but we used to have loads of weird ones.
Well, we have things like Jonah will do the towels and all the rest of that, and then I'll do like the boots and the sliders. Yeah. So we have certain jobs that we do, and if we don't do our certain job and the other one's done it or whatever, then that just throws
it. It just become the norm though. It wasn't even like we do that, you do that.
No, it just happened. Yeah. It wasn't something we spoke about. It just happened.
Yeah. I used to have just little weird ones, but now the only thing that we both do is every Saturday morning, so about 10 to 8, we drive to a Wetherspoons, which is like 5 minutes. 5 to 8, we're sat out there and we're the first people in Wetherspoon. We order the same thing every Saturday morning at 8. We order the same thing. We sit on the same table to the point where they know we're sitting in the same seats. Yeah. So like we sit in the same.
Yeah. So opposite each other, and
that's probably
the same side of the table.
Probably, and then at 11 o'clock, everything's done. We know everything's done. Us and a couple of others will walk over to Tesco's, which is 5 minutes, and we sort of buy the same drink. He buys the same pack of sweets and the same pack of donuts.
And then the goalkeeper coach comes in at half time and has one of my donuts.
And I buy a 4-pack. I have to buy a 4-pack of extra strong mints. And it's like when the gaffer goes out to game.
We've got more than I thought we had, you know.
When the gaffer
I know we've done.
When the gaffer goes out to the game, like at a certain time, I have to give him the mints and like hand them over, like it's just weird. And then I have a pack of mints in the game now. But it's not even things that we like purposely do. It's just become a habit. I wouldn't say they're superstitions.
No, and it's not like whether we win or lose. Yeah. We just do the same thing. I think it's a consistency thing. I think
one thing we definitely do, win or lose, we always get a kebab after a game. And talking of kebabs,
Yeah.
always at your place. We always go to the same place. I don't know what it's called, but it's only around the corner from the ground.
And they're doing a massive now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So that's pretty much the
I must admit, I do like your food review videos that you do. It's giving me like a bit of inspiration sometimes after games.
I know what, but we're usually absolutely starving, like come the end of a game.
Because when we're away, as you'll know, when you're in the hotel, you'll have breakfast. Everybody else will have a pre-match meal in the middle of the day that you won't get because you'll be at the ground setting up.
Yeah.
So then by the time the game's finished, you're starving because you haven't eaten.
You probably haven't eaten since what, 8:30 until 5:30, 5:45, well, 6-ish, probably.
6 o'clock,
7 o'clock at your ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you say, it's very physically demanding as well. So you do work up a big appetite after a game.
I've got one more thing to ask us before we wrap up. You said that your sort of first couple of weeks you had to go to Alicante in the job. How was that, getting your head around, like, remembering everything for that trip? Because I remember we did one and we had done the job for about 5 or 6 months. And I was panicking.
You still do.
I still panic now, but like, obviously you're going to.
Yeah, it's not like you're down the road and you can go back. And
I'm guessing you obviously you flew, didn't you?
Yeah, we flew. And I think it was the first time that the club had actually been abroad on a pre-season trip for a few years as well. So it was a bit of unknown for everyone. I mean, at the time, like you say, I were panicking a lot about little things here and there, but like looking back, it was probably like one of the best things that could have happened, just sort of like being thrown in at the deep end, because when I got back from that trip, I'd learned so much about things that I could do to improve and what I needed to remember. But I'm like to think I'm fairly organised anyway, so like I'd done a lot of like checklists and whatnot, and made sure that I'd brought enough things to cover every eventuality, which is probably like the biggest part. But yeah, it was certainly a whirlwind.
I love a checklist. I'll go through my checklist.
4 or 5 times he ticks the same thing.
I'm mental with it.
Hey, make sure it's easy.
I remember.
Yeah.
We both started in the January of the 18-19 season, and we went away that summer. It's the only time we've been abroad, actually. But we drove in the van, so it was. I couldn't drive at the time because I was still only 18. So the analyst at the time had to drive to La Manga. So I was 7 tickets.
Yeah.
It took 2 days.
It took 2 days. We stayed in Bordeaux on the way, but we got there before everyone else did that because obviously they flew. But the Noel Hunt, the assistant, and the sports scientist had gone out early as well to sort of like map everything out where we were going to go on runs.
Yeah.
So we all went for 4 of us went on a curry. With Lee Probert, the old Premier League ref, obviously, because he was sorting our stuff out. Yeah. So we went for a curry and had a few drinks, and then the team arrived and we had everything set up down on the pitch, all the balls and everything.
Here we go.
And the lads started doing like a passing drill and that, and a couple of the lads have said, "Oh, the balls."
Yeah.
Anyway, about 5 minutes later, Tommy Wright, the assistant, and Richie Wellens, the manager at the time, have all just gone absolutely mad at us.
Oh my God!
So
you've been here 3 days.
Yeah,
you left on Friday, and the balls aren't pumped up.
How are the balls flat? Like you've had time to prepare.
You've been here 3 days.
Yeah.
We drove for 2 of those 3 days.
It just when you said about pre-season, it just reminded me of that, and I went over the opposite side of the pitch and sat in a dugout crying
his eyes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a wait.
Yeah.
We've never been flat again since.
Check them every day.
Yeah.
But there we go.
There's nothing worse. Nothing worse is the, like, obviously the amount of work that's involved. Obviously in our roles, like you do so much, but then like the odd little thing that you might forget, and obviously like all the boys are straight on you.
All it takes is one thing. I mean, they can misplace 10 to 15 passes a game, but we don't mention them.
No, we'll keep that quiet, don't we?
Well, I think that about wraps us up. It's been a pleasure to talk to you again, Dom, and we'll see you later in the season when you guys come here. But yeah, cheers for joining us. And
Yeah.
yeah.
All the best for the rest of the season.
Before we go, if you haven't
Yeah.
been to our game on Saturday, then why not get them? Come and support the lads. We need it. It's Stockport at home.
Big game.
Big game.
Big
yeah.
game.
You come in, see you there. Be loud, support the boys. Other than that, follow us on the socials. Follow Dom. Dom, what's your Instagram?
So it's DSL Kitman.
See all of his setups.
I'm only on Instagram at the minute. But yeah, you can see literally every single ground that I've been to, from my first game to approaching 100 now. So
we're nearly. I think
what are we now? We're close to 250.
We've got a tally on the board, but we've missed the last couple of games, which has stressed me out because we've got to go back and count them now because I can't remember which game was the last one. But I think we're coming up to about 250, which is
right. Well,
yeah.
Cheers, Dom.
Cheers for coming on, Dom.
See you all soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, lads.
No problem.
Cheers, Dom.
Cheers, guys.